This is Matt Knutson, and you are listening to the I Am Salt Lake podcast, and you're a better person for it.
Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
What's up, Salt Lake City? Welcome to episode 111 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name is Chris Hollifield. Welcome to my show. Welcome to the podcast all about Salt Lake City. I'm actually recording this intro on a park bench right in beautiful downtown Salt Lake City. Figured I would capture the city a little bit in this intro and just try something a little bit different. So anyways, welcome to the show. IamSaltLake.com is the website. You can head on over there and catch all of the previous episodes. If you haven't had a chance to listen to them, you can download them, stream them right there from the website. Also links for iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Mediocre Radio Network. I know this is the third episode that I put out this week. I've just been talking to so many awesome people that have been wanting to get these up. I should be back to my normal Monday, Thursday schedule here shortly. That way, I know it gets to be a lot, and hopefully it's not too much. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these conversations with the people in Salt Lake or the events or the things going on. You guys have an opportunity to go and check out some of those previous conversations. Been talking to a lot of really cool people. Before I do jump into this conversation, I had this episode's with Brian Pope, comedian Brian Pope. I, of course, want to mention the sponsor for the podcast, the Urban Lounge, located right in downtown Salt Lake City, 241 South, 500 East. Their website, theurbanloungeslc.com. Go to the website. You can see the bands that are going to be playing there. You can buy tickets right from the website. Also links for their Twitter and Facebook, all right there online. So many thanks goes out to Urban Lounge for their support of this podcast. Hey, this episode, Brian Pope, he's a comedian from Salt Lake City here. I had an opportunity to sit down with him right before he went off to New York City. We had a great conversation, kind of found out why he's going to New York, his comedy career, and just what he thinks of the comedy scene here in Salt Lake City. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. So why don't you join me now as I talk to Brian Pope when he came over to my apartment here in downtown Salt Lake City. I'm excited because you've been on the list of people to talk to, kind of like I mentioned in the message, and then all of a sudden I noticed you're going to be moving away. And so I'm like, well, shoot, I gotta get you on. And I'm glad, you're going to be leaving here in a couple of days.
Yep.
So taking some time out to sit down and chat with me, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't we just kind of, I want to kind of get in and find out why you're going to New York.
Okay.
But let's start, even at the beginning of what got you introduced to doing stand-up comedy and how that happened for you.
All right. So stand-up is, in my opinion, like if you're really going to be a stand-up comic, if you really are a stand-up comic, I feel like it's kind of something that you were born with. I don't know. That sounds so stupid, but it's like...
Well, yeah, you have it in your blood.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
If you're going to be an entertainer, you're an entertainer. Like a lot of people come out and they do comedy and they're like, my friends tell me I'm funny, so I'm going to do stand up, or my friend, but a lot of times the people like that don't really last very long, I guess. And yeah, people should tell you you're funny, because if people aren't telling you you're funny, you shouldn't be doing stand up, right? But it's just,
but don't you think it takes a while to be built up to get funny or to figure out how to be funny, though?
Exactly. So my whole thing is like, I'm an entertainer, and I'm like, I've been entertaining people for years. I've been wanting to be a stand-up comic. Like, I am a stand-up comic. I already am. I just need to get on a stage somewhere and do it, and maybe make money doing it.
So where was your first time on stage?
Trolley Square.
Trolley Square, Wise Guys. I'm assuming.
Wise Guys Wednesday night open mic. I walked in the door almost 3 years ago, and I remember just like, you got to do this. And I was like, I wrote jokes like for weeks and just was like practicing them. It's like, you're going to do these jokes and they're going to be awesome. And I didn't bring my notes because I was like, comics never have notes. I don't need notes. Of course, as soon as I get there, like someone's like, new guys all never have notes, amateurs.
And did you freeze on stage?
No.
Or was it just, you knew the moment you got up there, you're like, this is where I belong?
No, the moment I got up there. So this is how it went down.
How did it go down?
I walked in and I was so nervous. It was one of those things where I'm like, all right, I'm going to turn around and leave. I'm going to turn around and leave. And I'm like, no, you're not. Just stay here and do it. And I sat down upstairs. You've been there, right?
Yeah,
so, you walk upstairs. There's like the downstairs area. And then I walked upstairs and like just sat in a booth.
And were you there by yourself?
For a minute.
For a minute, okay.
I was sitting in a booth kind of by myself, just like, this is going to be awesome. Of course, I was one of those people that like did have a bunch of friends come out to see me that night. And there's a dude named James Popejoy sitting down, or that came and sat down, and he was like, "Hey man, I've never seen you before. You new?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he was like, "What's your name?" and all that. And he started talking to me and giving me pointers like, "Don't acknowledge the lights, don't do this." And then Christian Piper and Greg Orem sat down. And I think they were only about a month into it themselves, but more than me. So, and then I started talking to Christian and Greg. And got to know them. And then I just kind of sat with them all night, just kind of like just nervous. And then they called my name and I went up there and I grabbed the mic and just said something to the effect of, "I've been sober for 2 weeks," because I was at the time. And, everyone started clapping and I was like, "Don't fucking clap for that. This is terrible. My life is boring." And then I said something about like jerking off and eating a bagel. I can't remember what I said. Just fucking stupid jokes. And I had everyone going. And then I got off stage and, the MC and the guys I'd already been talking to were like, "Dude, that was great. You got to come back." And I just have been there ever since. Like, as soon as I got that first laugh, I was like, dude, this is home. Like, there's no way you can't not do this the rest of your life.
And so you just kept going back to open mics.
I just kept going back to open mics, man. Just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And I made the mistake at first, like I said, I was sober at the time. I was going through like an AA kick, and then I kicked that and then started drinking heavily.
After being sober.
Yeah. So I'd been sober, and then I went and started drinking heavily again. And then I became known as the drunk comic. And I have videos to this day of just me plastered on stage, like making such a fool of myself.
And are you sober now then, or do you drink occasionally?
I'm not sober now. I still drink.
Well, right now you're sober, I'm assuming.
Right now I'm sober, but I'm no longer in a 12-step or anything like that. But, I'm good.
Do you care to talk a little? I mean, what made you decide to get sober? I mean, what was going on? I'm 26. I was 24 at the time. Yeah. I think, or 23 or something. And you're just drinking a lot.
Yeah, between like 21 and 23 or 4 were really just terrible years where I started drinking like really heavily to self-medicate and stuff like that. And
isn't that why we all drink though?
Yeah, totally. But it was like a pint of whiskey a day, and it got
out of control.
Out of control because I worked for a really big company and made a lot of money, and then fucked one of my employees and got fired when the economy crashed.
Like literally fucked them.
Literally had sex with her vagina.
Well, there you go.
And got fired
for doing that.
For fucking. Nowadays you could probably do it there and they wouldn't give a shit. But in 2008 or 2009 or whenever it was, every company was looking for a way to get rid of people, get rid of a big chunk.
That was your way out.
Yeah, I remember walking in and they were like, "Hey man, come talk to us." And I was like, "Cool." And in my head,
what did she go tell on you or what?
No, someone else told on me because I wrote him up for something and he got pissed and retaliated against me. So
because he wanted her.
Dude, yeah, he's a fucking douchebag.
Oh, yeah. We don't need to get into that. I mean, I was just kind of curious because it's always interesting to hear people's stories of how they clean their life up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I do my best. I try not to drink. Like, I don't really drink liquor at all anymore.
Just a good beer?
Just a good beer. But my problem is I really love the taste of beer, like a lot. Like, I just think it tastes fucking fantastic.
Dude,
like a beer and a cigarette is like the best fucking thing ever. And so I end up drinking like 18 and sometimes get out of control.
18 beers?
Yeah.
Well, they're Utah beers, though. So that's only what, like 12?
Actually, no, it's not. That's kind of a myth. I went to beer school
You went to beer school?
Which I think everyone should do. It's like $20 or $30, and it's what's that place at Trolley? That brewery, Desert Edge.
And you go and you sign up for beer school.
Yeah, and the brewmaster takes you through the brewery and he teaches you everything there is to know about brewing beer, and then you sit down and you drink 6 different pitchers of beer. And he, like, the way he describes it is so funny.
6 pitchers by yourself?
No, there's people, but you get really drunk really fast. Okay. He even says that. He's like, "We're going to get drunk." And they give you a 4-course meal or 5-course meal or something, and he'll try to describe the food. He'll be like, all right, this one is he's reading off a paper, like it's supposed to, I guess, taste like a winter's breeze or something, like just, bullshit like that. But then he'll talk about the beer and he gets all passionate. He's like, it's got a real grassy taste to it.
Don't you love beer enthusiasts?
Yeah, dude,
that
it's
get
so good.
Really into it.
And I was so drunk and I was like, I want to work for you. He's like, I'm hiring. I'm like, cool, I'm coming in tomorrow. He's like, see you tomorrow. I never went in, but.
So he pretty much hired you, but you didn't show up.
Yeah, I never showed up.
Well, you probably would have had the best job ever. So
I have a way better job.
So beer, I mean, like now I can go down to Desert Edge and take this beer class.
You can go down to Desert Edge and take this beer class.
I got to find out.
And it is fucking awesome.
And they just teach you the ways.
He just teaches you everything. He doesn't.
And you said it's a myth. The 3.2 is a myth.
Yeah, he explained it to us. It's still a little bit less, but you get just as drunk on that as you would 5%. Because here it's 3.2 by. Is it by volume? There's two different ways to measure it, by volume and by weight.
Okay.
And here I think it's 3.2 by weight, and everywhere else is 5% by volume, which by weight is like 4 or 3.9 or something. I can't remember.
Well, and I've heard like some with the altitude has something to do.
I heard that too.
Well,
and I asked him, and he said,
that's BS.
He's like, yeah, and it probably. He was just like, probably, but who cares? And I was like, oh, okay, well.
Well, we have there's some delicious beers here in Salt Lake City.
Delicious beers.
Really,
favorite beer of all time is Squatter's Organic Amber. Oh, that is so good.
Well, you're going to miss it when you're in New York. Hopefully you can find it.
And I doubt it. I don't know. I have a friend there that posted a picture of her with a Uinta.
Out in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned you've been doing comedy 3 years now?
Almost 3 years. I started around the same time as like Jay Whitaker. I think he had been doing it like a month before. So I came up with a lot of these guys that are big around town now, like him, Christian Piper.
And they've all been pretty supportive of you. They've all been
I feel
really,
like they have,
really,
man, totally.
Have you had a chance at all to go up to perform outside of Salt Lake yet?
Oh yeah.
Where
totally. Like the surrounding, state, nowhere huge, like Idaho and stuff like that. But.
And now why wouldn't you just travel? Like say make Salt Lake your home and say travel, hop in the car, go to California, go up to Oregon. Why do you feel you need to go out to New York?
Because there's several reasons. One, I'm an East Coast guy.
Okay. Were you were born out there or what?
I'm originally from Maryland. Yeah.
Nice.
I love it here. I don't say like I'm an East Coast guy as in like I mean it in more the context of like my stand-up style, I think fits in more with the New York crowd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of like LA.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more raw. There's no real there's no gimmicks. There's no shticks or anything like that. It's just, raw storytelling.
So when did you come from the East Coast to Utah then?
Like 15 years ago.
Okay.
So, my whole family still lives in Maryland, most of them. But, I have a bigger picture planned beyond stand-up as well, but I love doing stand-up, but I just feel like...
So you're not going to New York exclusively to pursue a stand-up career?
Right. Well, my career, I don't necessarily want to have a career in just doing stand-up. I want to do stand-up the rest of my life. I'd love to explore other avenues. Stand-up is a fantastic...
Other avenues such as...
Like TV, acting, behind the scenes stuff. I would love to do a lot of that. Writing, producing. I'm an entertainer, really. You know what I mean?
Just anything you would like to just do anything that you just get your voice out there, your face seen.
I'd love to someday get in a position to where I can be someone who can do anything they want. Kind of like people like Judd Apatow, I guess, right? Judd Apatow is a stand-up, but he writes great movies. He writes and directs and has been producing great stuff for years. You know what I mean? Like he got in a great position to be able to do that.
Have you had any opportunities to write any kind of like TV shows or scripts or even personally?
Yeah, I wrote a pilot not too long ago that I handed off to some people.
Do you think it'll get anywhere though?
I doubt it, but because the chances of that happening are probably less than something cool happening with stand-up. You know what I mean? It's like probably less than 1% chance. And that goes with anyone. You know what I mean? But I know some people who know some people that wanted to pass it on for me. So that was cool.
And it's all about connections, really.
I mean, 100%
you got to get out there, network, meet people, just get out there. I mean, are you constantly, what's the words I'm looking for? Networking with people
constantly.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm a business, like first and foremost, really,
a businessman.
Well, I don't know about first and foremost, but yeah, I'm a businessman. I happen to, when I first started working, get to work in big corporate, companies and positions, and I had some great mentors and stuff. So when it comes to the business side of everything, like I'm pretty attuned to what to do. I feel like when it comes to networking, when it comes to marketing, all that stuff. For instance, New York. Let me talk about this for a second. That K-Town Comedy, you're familiar with that, right?
I've heard the name.
Steve McAnally. It's a show that he runs and DJs, and he had 3 guys coming from New York, and I called him up and I said, "You have to let me on this show." And he's like, "Cool, yeah, I'll get you on." And I was like, and I'll pay you back with stage time at Five Monkeys, which is where I ran my show. And because I was like, I need to meet them and make friends with them because they're in New York. And that was good because now I have a show next week at Broadway Comedy Club.
There you go.
Because of them.
You have to get out and sell yourself.
Yeah.
Did you go to school for any kind of business or marketing or
No.
Did you go to school at all?
I went to school for English creative writing.
So you do, I mean, did you graduate with a degree in any kind of creative writing?
No, because the only classes I just could never get past were math.
Math will kill you, everybody, man.
I'm a fucking idiot, dude. I look down at numbers and they start mixing up.
Man. That will hold you back.
Dude, they mix up and get all crazy, and like I'm dyslexic when it comes to math. Like I fail pre-algebra. I never even passed in high school. And I'm about to move to the biggest city in the world. So it sounds like it.
Well, and we don't, who uses math? We have calculators.
Who uses math?
Who uses math, man?
Who uses math these days?
Yeah.
Who needs school? Fuck that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know.
No, you're right though. No one does that, but
it's important. I think just a way to help your brain.
For sure.
To help your brain. So before moving to New York, what would you say your most rewarding thing or your biggest accomplishment in stand-up? I mean, do you have any big moments that have just stuck out a little bit more than others?
The biggest moment I had in Salt Lake specifically was when I broke Five Monkeys. I don't know if they really keep track of this stuff, but he's like, dude, you just broke the record for the most people we've ever had here for a show.
Really?
And we made more money tonight than we've ever made. And I was like, that's awesome. But the big moment really was the second time I headlined there and broke the record that I set.
What about,
so that just made me feel like really good. You know what I mean? And I made like hundreds of dollars and it was sweet.
Where did you do your farewell show at? Didn't you do
Five Monkeys also?
Five Monkeys. Did that show just sell out? Did it just...
No, I didn't sell out. There's a good amount of people there. Not as much as we've had in the past. It was a Utes game night. So we had probably 60, 70 people maybe. But in the past, we've had 120, things like that. But
so what do you think of the local Salt Lake comedy scene? I mean, what do you, as a whole, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it is.
And be honest, because you're moving, so they can't come and kick your ass, right?
Yeah, well, I'll just drink 18 beers and try to fight them anyway. I think it's great. I think the comedy fans in Salt Lake are fantastic. You'll even hear big names talk about how much fun they had in Salt Lake. Like Doug Stanhope came and did a Showtime special here. That's how much he loves it. You know what I mean?
And why do you think that is? Why?
Because people here, there's a common misconception about Utah. Well, not really. I mean, Utah is a Mormon place, but people don't understand Salt Lake specifically really is like a very liberal.
Because we're evil here.
Diverse. Because there's a lot of fucking evil people up here, dude.
Yeah.
It's a very liberal, diverse place, man. Really.
And so you think the comedy scene thrives off of that kind of a little bit?
I think so. I think people, and a lot of people are sheltered growing up. You know what I mean? You know people like that were just like.
Dude, I've lived here about 15, about that many, maybe 20 years ago now. I moved from California. So, I mean, people are sheltered here. It's a bubble here, man.
Yeah. And you see it. Salt Lake kind of doesn't really have its own identity it's sort of like a
We're creating it though. I think we're slowly getting there.
No, we are totally, but it's kind of like more of like a big. So the United States is just grabs from everywhere else, right? There's so many different cultures and everything like that. Salt Lake's like a miniature version of that idea. They don't really have their own thing, like how New York's got their own thing, how LA's got their own thing. You know, the South's got their food. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like Salt Lake doesn't really have anything like that. It's kind of an emulation of everywhere else. We've got that fantastic temple, which I go to frequently. But
have you ever toured the temple in all your years of being here?
I've never toured. I don't walk into churches at all, dude. I don't want anything to do with them. But
so anyway, sorry. So the Salt Lake comedy scene.
Salt Lake. But there's a lot of good fans because I think that they are sheltered, but there's or not everyone's sheltered, but maybe they lived that way and now they appreciate that type of thing more. Like it's more shocking to them. Like if I say like pussy, like on stage, it's a little bit more shocking to people here.
It's just that crowd reaction.
Yeah. That's why when you go to Trolley on Wednesdays, like you could pretty much say anything and that crowd's going to laugh because they're expecting comedy and they're expecting you to say dirty as fuck things. Believe it or not, whether they censor you or not, which I'm not sure if that's what they do there these days.
Do they censor you?
I don't know. I think they change their mind every few months over there. They're just like, all right, no fucking fuck jokes or pussy or dick jokes tonight because we got to be clean. And then other days they'll be like, all right, guys, fucking have a great time. Fuck.
And I've heard it's a little different at the Complex though, right? The Complex is a little more.
Complex is anything goes.
And as a comedian, do you like that better?
I love it. Yeah. I don't like being censored at all. I think I used to think it was a great challenge to be like, man, I'm going to go do a clean set and stuff like that. But then I realized like, dude, I really don't even like clean comedy myself. So why am I trying to do
clean
that?
Clean comedy is boring.
Yeah. Like some people are great at it, pull it off and are great comedians that I love, like Seinfeld, Regan, Gaffigan, like dudes like that. But they're masters of their craft and they're observationalists. You know what I mean? Like I'm a raconteur and my life isn't clean at all. So I can't just go up there and start
and just pull off
like that would be fake. I'm myself on stage, you know.
And
what I mean?
I think that's what makes a good comedian. Would you agree to be yourself? I mean, look at Louis C.K. I mean, I think he's just up there and he just gets up and does his thing.
I totally agree. And I'm no Louis or any of those guys, but like it's funny to me. I can't fucking stand when people are like, dude, you got to clean it. Some of my good friends will tell me this that are comics, you know, but I don't fucking agree with them.
Why clean it up?
Well, they'll be like, you got to clean it up so you can get corporate gigs and make a lot of money because that's where the money's at. It's like, dude, that's not what I'm after.
But do you think that's true? Don't you think you can be successful and still say fuck and pussy and dick?
You can. It just depends on what you want to do. Like, that's one of the reasons I don't want to be a road comic. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be like I don't want to be censored like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because it is like that. Like anyone that goes and does the triple runs or anything, there are certain rooms where you can't really say certain things. Most of the time you can, but sometimes you can't. And it's like, there's certain things I won't say anyway. There's certain subjects. I won't touch religion. I won't touch rape, or I won't say racist things. I'll talk about race, but I won't say anything racist.
And why? Just because, I mean...
Because that's a turnoff.
Yeah.
First off, rape, I don't even like hearing about rape.
Well, just the word makes you cringe,
it's just like when people are... Like, I've heard people say raped a baby and stuff on stage. It's like, dude, that's a little...
It's tacky.
That's too much.
And then religion, it's like, this is the way I look at religion, especially, okay, living in Utah. And do your thing, let me do my thing.
Yeah. And I myself personally, like, try to distance myself from religion just because I believe it or not, I grew up pretty strict Protestant.
So you didn't even grow up Mormon then? Do you have any Mormon blood in you?
No Mormon blood.
And you found your way to Salt Lake?
Found my way to Salt Lake.
Wow.
Salt Lake's a good town, man.
And we'll get into that. I'm curious, some of your favorite things about Salt Lake.
I'll tell you everything. But yeah, I grew up. I grew up pretty religious, and like I really don't ever want to. I don't even like thinking about religion.
Is religion important at all to you?
No,
but you just don't want to bash it.
It brings back memories that I just don't want to even.
Dude, I respect.
You know what I'm saying?
I respect you for that. I respect you a lot.
So I don't. want to go up there. Plus, I don't want to offend anyone with religion talk either. You know what I mean? So I don't like want to go up there, and I try not to get too political with anything ever, really. I just like telling funny stories about things that have happened to me, you know, over exaggerated.
Have you ever like pissed anybody off and actually seen somebody walk out of one of your sets?
Oh yeah, dude, I've been booed off stage. I've seen people walk out of, you know.
Does that bother you? Maybe at first?
At first, yeah. The first time I ever bombed was at Trolley. I remember just like, that was the day that I started drinking again.
So thanks whoever made him start drinking.
Yeah, I had a bunch of warm beer in my trunk or something like that, and I was
waiting for a rainy day.
Yeah, me and Ryan Holyoke. Do you know Ryan Holyoke?
I don't.
He's a local comic. I don't think he really does it anymore, but it was like we both started at the same time, and we both bombed for the first time, and we like went out. We're just all depressed, ready to kill ourselves and shit. And
you just started drinking some beers.
Yeah.
You were just like, so you've been heckled, you've been booed, but you just keep going at it. I mean,
just keep going, man. I was in Idaho, and this guy goes, "You should have had some shots before you went up there." And I was like, "Why?" And he goes, "Because you ain't funny."
What was he, like a redneck or what?
Yeah, he was a redneck, and I talk about white guilt stuff like that a lot, like. And I don't think he appreciated that.
Where do you get most of your inspiration from your jokes? Like, where do you, just daily life or
yeah, just things that happen to me or happen to friends and, you know, family, stuff like that. Like, I talk a lot about race now, a lot about white people and things like white guilt and stuff like that. And I don't think I ever would have went there if my brother and sister didn't have kids that weren't white. Do you know what I mean?
No,
like,
I got you.
And, it's funny because sometimes, you know, I've found that I do make white, and I'm white for those that are listening. I find it, I find that sometimes white people get a little uncomfortable sometimes with the things that I say, but the black people are always laughing hysterically. I don't know, just because I feel like I'm a black comic, man. I'm Def Jam.
You just get a hat, wear it backwards, and
yeah.
You're
well,
I
mean a black person's comic.
A black person. So
no, I don't sugarcoat anything either. You know what I mean? I throw it out there. I take my biggest pains, other than religion, and throw them out there for the world to hear, and try to do it in a funny way. That's how I deal with it. You know what I mean? It's therapy up there.
And do you get into like you do Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you love that, like for kind of putting little ideas out there, jokes, and kind of see the reaction? Do you work with that at all? Because I know some comics, they will even kind of practice some of their jokes through social media outlets.
I most definitely don't do that. No.
Really?
No.
Why? It just, you don't
because
find
it's
it to
not
be
the same.
You don't find it to be beneficial, or what?
Not for me.
Not for you.
It's not the same. I can't just write something on Facebook and someone's gonna, you know, here's the thing about me.
Okay, that got 30 likes, so that must be a good joke.
Yeah,
right?
Before I had even good jokes, I had stage presence. So I've been working off stage presence rather than material. At least that's what I did at first, because I already had the stage presence. A lot of people, it's the opposite way. They come up with jokes and then they got to work on their stage presence later. They still sound like, like they've been practicing it in a mirror.
And what do you mean by stage presence? Just the way you carry yourself on stage?
Yeah.
Just you look relaxed, you know?
The way I come off as a very, I'm very confident. Nothing will sound rehearsed, even though, believe me, it is. It's just because when I'm up there, that's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, like,
you have to own it, man. You have to own it.
I own it and I love it. Like there's no fear about it. There's excitement.
But deep down inside, do you have a little bit of fear? Do you get nervous still? I mean, you have to get nervous a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't think that's fear.
Yeah.
I get nervous sometimes. The dumbest things will make me nervous. Like, oh fuck, there's an old guy in the front, dude. He's gonna hate this. Like shit like that. Like,
does your family come out to any of your shows at all?
My siblings do, yeah.
Does that make it harder to say some of the jokes that you do?
No.
Because they know how you are.
Yeah. I talk about their kids.
Have you ever like upset somebody for saying they're like, come on, that was kind of personal about me or something? Yeah.
No.
Really? Because that's always been my fear. Even
no
like
one's ever told me
doing this.
But I guess my whole thing is that I don't think no one's ever said anything like that to me because they already know
who you are,
who I am, and what I do.
Gotcha.
I don't hide anything when I'm up there, man. It's all out there. All my vulnerability will be theirs for you to experience, but at the same time, like I'm going to be confident as fuck about all of it. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people, you know, have a cadence kind of. There's like this comedian cadence where it's like, I was at the store the other day and this happened and that. It's like, I don't, you know, that's just not my thing.
Do you do impersonations at all?
I've started to incorporate a little bit of that stuff and now, yeah, I've always been, because I'm just in regular day-to-day life a very animated human being, and the past few years I've been doing it mostly dialogue on stage, and I just recently started like being even more comfortable, I guess, and more animated, doing more impersonations that are not just, you know, a woman's voice, you know, just other stuff.
Do you have any good ones you care to share or not really?
Well, I don't really impersonate right now. I don't really impersonate celebrities or anything.
So you can't do like,
but I'm very
Obama or something like that.
Well,
Ronald Reagan.
Obama's easy, dude, because he is like, and I actually look at him for stand up, for stage like ideas, because he has better stage presence than anyone in the world. Like when he's so confident up there, and like he doesn't really have. He kind of sounds like Bill Cosby. Like he's got this kind of like, the American people, they need jobs. And Governor Romney is a perpetrator. Took businesses, sent them overseas. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that was good.
He more just has like this cadence, dude, about him. And like, he's just like, so I guess I can kind of impersonate him, but I love the way he is. And I actually like kind of take a cue from him when it comes to doing stand up and being on stage. It's like, dude, you got to own it like him and just fucking look at everyone instead of looking at a goddamn teleprompter. He never looks. Like, have you ever seen him look down at a paper? Never seen him look down.
Well, and why do you think he's gotten to where he's at today?
Exactly.
You know, I think you have to, you have to be confident. You have to get up there. You have to, cause that shows through the way you carry yourself.
My favorite Obama line was, "We can't all be Lil Wayne." In a serious conversation he was having.
So
Dude, everyone's going to listen to this and be like, that was the worst fucking Obama impression I've ever heard. Who the fuck is Brian Pope? Go to New York. I was talking about something though. I'm sorry.
No,
there's something
that's what I love about podcasts, man, is you just kind of get all over the place.
Yeah, dude. There's
I mean?
like something I wanted to go back to before I forget. There's been a bunch, but this one I want to do specifically, the comedy scene in Utah.
Oh yeah, the comedy scene in Utah.
Great fans in Utah. When it comes to comedians, a lot of us are supportive and a lot of us aren't. And a lot of us are supportive in different ways and should be supportive better ways. Let me put it this way. And I used to be a perpetrator of a lot of it too. I'm not going to lie. No one's immune to it. Like, there's, laziness when it comes to marketing shows and trying to get people out.
Laziness as far as like just promoting it, just getting the word out.
But that's comics in general. That's not just Salt Lake. That's, I feel like, everywhere. I'm lazy as fuck, but I do everything I can to promote. That's the thing.
Well, what could you do better? I see comics all the time posting, like on Facebook and Twitter.
I think I do just fine. You know, there's just sometimes I've had people on shows where it's like, dude, you didn't post anything about this. That's why no one's here. And you're expecting like, you're saying how much this show's going to suck. It's like, what'd you do to get people here? We live in a small market. It's up to you.
True.
You know what I mean? This isn't Los Angeles or New York or Chicago where people are just going out because it's the night where there's 8 million people. You know what I mean? There's not even 3 million people in this entire state. More than half of them are never going to even know who we are, probably.
Oh, you make a valid point.
So it's like, I've had that happen where they're just like, oh, this sucks. I bombed. And it's like, yeah, well, I mean, what'd you do to get people here? Nothing. I can only do so much. You know what I'm saying? As the producer.
So what can you do better then? What do you think could be done better?
By me specifically, or by everyone?
Comics in general in Salt Lake. Flyer more.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, do comics
thing?
flyer at all? I mean, I remember like old band, you know, when you had a concert.
I don't think we have to do that anymore with social media. You know what I mean? But don't just Facebook and Twitter text every single person in your phone. Because how many event invites do you get that you ignore? I get a lot.
Most of them.
Me personally, especially with trying to stay active in Salt Lake, I do try to pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah.
But I do think the average person ignores.
I mean, because more than half of them are like, you know, fucking rave at so and it's like, dude, I don't want to go to that shit. Or like, come get on my VIP list at such and such fucking club. And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that either. You know what I mean? It's just like all your friends, you know, people create invites for barbecues at their house and send it to all 900 friends they have.
Yeah, you make a valid point.
People I've never met in other states that are friends with me or something that will send me invites to stuff going on in their state. You know what I mean? So, it's all about texting nowadays, I think. Like texting people twice, once a week or two before and once the day of.
So once this podcast goes up, I should text all my friends and say, listen to the
No,
Brian
because your podcast gets your podcast gets a lot of downloads, man. It's probably because it's about Salt Lake. You know what I mean? You have, you know, it's different for you. This is a small market. And you have done a genius thing where you're making a podcast about this market. So everyone in it's going to want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? It's like Fox 13 News. How many people watch that a night? Why do we watch it? Because it's local and relevant. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's, you know, when it comes to shows, we need to get better at marketing. Wise Guys is always going to have an audience because it's called Wise Guys Comedy Club. People know it, and it's the only one in Utah, right? Though it's monopolized, has done a genius thing when it comes to that. Like, he's a pretty good businessman. That dude over there that owns it, Keith Stubbs.
Do you think another comedy place like Wise Guys could come to Salt Lake and survive?
I just don't know.
Do you think there's enough of a market for that?
It's because of the market. That's the thing. And it's like, I really don't know. It's really hard to, I think it's possible. But when all of them have the same booker that goes through that place already, you know, how many famous names are you going to be able to get into a different comedy club? Do you know what I mean? Like, he's probably in with all the bookers, I imagine. I don't really know him personally or anything. I'm just kind of using my business mind to
maybe in 10 years, you know, Salt Lake's gonna it's growing. It's growing a lot.
It could. I think one could. You know, I think there could be another one. Totally.
Yeah.
You know, if these places, if everyone was smart, we would all just work together and stop worrying about who. Dude, this scene is like the comics. I've had people cancel shows on me.
Like cancel, like what? Like shows you were putting on, or just shows you were going to be part of, or
just cancel being a part of a show that I'm putting on because they don't want the owner of Wise Guys to get mad at them. And it's like, dude, do you really fucking think he gives a shit if you do a little dinky show in a fucking bar where we're all going to make like $20? Do you think he cares? Why would he care? We're not stepping on his toes. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I've had someone say, well, he got mad at me one time because like I was headlining somewhere and he said, how can I charge $12 for you to headline when they're only charging $5? And it's like, yeah, well, even if he does say that, you're still going to sell out the show at Wise Guys because it's Wise Guys. And that's where people go on the weekends, right? Like, I bet half their audience is there, not even from advertisements. It's probably just people that go on a Saturday because they know.
Well, it's like, hey, I want to catch a comedy show.
Yeah, what do you want?
I know Wise Guys is going to have something to go check out, which is great.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going on a first date, you know, let's go see some stand-up.
Yeah,
that'd be unique.
Something different to do.
You know? And it's like, dude, even if he did care, like, do you sell out his club? Yeah, all right. Then he'll bitch about it and get over it. Yeah. And I do understand his point. Like, I totally see that. Like, yeah, how can you really think I'm going to be able to charge more? You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, dude, we're not going to have that kind of audience, probably. I mean, sometimes we will, but it's just so stupid. There's this dumb divide between.
Well, it's that small lake city they talk about. You know, Salt Lake City's big, but yet at the same time, everybody knows everybody.
It's just
everybody's afraid to step on toes.
It's so dumb. It's like, oh, I don't want to perform like at Wise Guys because I don't want so and so to get mad at me, or I'm not going to perform at the Complex because I think the people at Wise Guys are going to get mad. It's like, dude,
have you seen that happen though?
Oh God, yes.
Really?
All the time.
That sucks, man.
So stupid. Like, and it sucks for me as a fan of comedy because I fucking love everyone. Like, I love watching comedians. Like, I love watching all of those guys, man. And I think everyone needs to just support each other. And at the end of the day, if you just want to stay here, you should go do as much stage time as you can. That way, when you do go to the club, Wise Guys, and like there's a sold out crowd, you're going to kill it even better than you would normally because you're practicing constantly. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Has anyone ever talked about kind of that on your podcast before? Like
Talked about briefly, and you know, just kind of the between the complex and them, you know. And I haven't really wanted to dig because I'm not, you know, it's like, okay, I really don't know anything, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not in the comedy scene. And so I've talked to a few comics.
I'll lay it all out right now. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to name any names or get into anything because, you know, I don't know how the hell any of it all started, whatever. There's dumb politics that exist in this town that should not exist when it comes to entertainment. A lot of people, I think, not in comedy really, that doesn't really have them, but in the entertainment kind of part of Utah, a lot of people think that they're like just bigger than they are. And it's just so naive. Like, I'm no one right now, and I'm no one. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go to Michigan. Someone's going to be like, oh, Brian Pope, you're so goddamn funny. I'm not even going to go anywhere here and hear that. Every once in a while, I'll run into someone, and he'll be like, hey, you, at a coffee shop, and they'll be like, funny guy, and then walk away. You know, just some weird, awkward moment. But it's just there's this just weird politics in the comedy world in this town where it's like, I don't want to piss so-and-so off, or I'm not going to go there because so-and-so doesn't like them. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's kind of sad though.
It's like, dude, or, you know, I don't give two shits about any of that. Like, I'll perform anywhere I want. I don't really go to the trolley open mic anymore because I, you know, sort of, I guess I consider myself an experienced open micer. I don't know how to put it. I'm not past. I'm never going to say, oh, I'm too good for open mics. I can't get friends of mine to come out and pay $5 to see me do 3 minutes. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
So, you know, it's just a risk of getting cut. In a bigger market, yeah, I probably would take that risk a lot and would get cut a lot. But here it's like, no, because this is where everyone that knows me is. So they're going to pay $5 to see me do 40. They're not going to come out every Wednesday and pay $5 to see me do 3, you know, which is why, you know, I understand sort of, you know, why people, that whole Keith, like, I can't charge this much if you're charging that, you know what I mean? But, God damn it, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry.
I'm loving it. I'm loving this conversation.
You know what's funny is that this is like comedian Brian Pope, and I haven't done one thing funny like the whole time I'm here.
Honestly, that's not even really what I'm here for. I'm here to just find out about you, man. I'm here to find out, you know, what makes you tick and what your thoughts are. I mean, you're leaving Salt Lake. Have you had an opportunity to perform yet in New York at all?
Never.
But you kind of vaguely mentioned you have friends out there.
Yeah, I got a few friends from Salt Lake there. I got a little bit of family. I got,
now, are you going to be like in Manhattan or Brooklyn or what?
Manhattan.
Manhattan, right in the heart of it, man.
Yeah, man. I'm going to try to stay in Manhattan.
How much is a place to rent out there? Good.
It just depends where you live, man. I'll probably be living somewhere in Harlem, so, you know.
You get a roommate, or are you going to be by yourself?
Yeah. I'll probably live with 2 or 3 other people.
Get bunk beds, or
yeah, dude, bunk beds, or just fucking human centipede that shit. How many human centipede references have been on this podcast?
You broke.
Yeah,
you broke the
pop that hymen.
Yeah, you popped that hymen there.
I'm just gonna be a T-shirt, Brian Pope's T-shirt. Pop that hymen.
So New York. So let's say you had the opportunity to tour with any comedian you wanted. I mean, who would you like to go on a tour with? Who's like your dream comedian, man?
Man,
you know, you brought up a few names, but like, who do you really just look up to, and you would just be like stoked to road dog with?
People that are alive doing comedy now.
Dead. I don't care, man. This is all just. I'm not going to sign. I'm not going to be able to hook you up with it or anything.
No, I'll stick with alive. I'll go. Dave Chappelle. I would love to, because he's one of my heroes when it comes to comedy, man.
Just his style, or what?
Style, his way of telling stories, his facial expressions, his technical ability.
What happened to the Dave Chappelle show? I mean, what happened to that?
Dude, he couldn't handle it, I guess, dude. Throwing $40 million at him. You know.
I can't handle all the money.
I think what he was saying was like, I can't remember what he said. Something about like when they were doing the racist, and every time the N-word was being said, like some white people were laughing too much, and he was like, what am I doing? I don't really know.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know what happened, and I don't even care because
does he do stand up?
Yeah, he's doing stand up right now. He's on tour with a festival or something like that.
Really.
Yeah, and
well, if he ever comes to Salt Lake, I'll get him on the podcast.
Dude, get him on. I'm sure he'd be on. I don't know, dude. That dude, like seeing Dave Chappelle right now is like seeing Bigfoot. I think he even mentions that on one of his bits now. It really is. It's like, oh shit, there's Dave Chappelle. Like he's just been like randomly showing up places, but I'd love to go on tour with him just because he's one of my heroes and I think it'd be cool to hang out with. I really look up to the ones that I draw my influences from, which I never really realized until recently, is him, Pryor, Cosby, and Ellen DeGeneres.
There's a mix and a half. Oh, Ellen, I can't even say her name.
A little bit of Robin Williams in there.
Yeah.
But
Robin Williams is classic, man.
Dude, have you ever watched Ellen stand up?
I haven't, no.
Dude, she is like, she's pretty clean, but she's like, her stage presence, like, I don't know. It's the technical things that I notice. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, hers is just like so good. Like, she always keeps a straight face. She doesn't laugh at her own jokes or anything. She's just like putting on a real one-woman show when she's up there, and it's amazing to me. Like, I think she's fantastic.
Well, an old Richard Pryor, come on. The guy was brilliant, man.
Richard Pryor is so funny. I listen to at least one of his comedy albums a day.
Do you listen to a lot of comedy albums?
Oh, yeah, man. I love comedy. I'm a fan. I don't see how you could do stand-up without being a fan.
Yeah.
It blows my mind when I meet someone that's a comic and they're just like, I don't really watch comedy. Which has happened. They're just like, I don't really like too many comics anymore. It's like, why? There's so many good ones. You know what's crazy though is that there's so many bad ones too. That not bad. Let me take that back. They're not bad. Just ones that I don't resonate with. Like big famous comedians that everyone loves that I just can't get into for some reason. You know what I mean? Like I can't get into Brian Regan. I just can't. I don't know why.
I've had a hard time too. I like a few dirty words.
Yeah.
Kind of thrown out there, man. But he sells out every show. It seems like
because he's great.
Yeah.
He's good. I just can't. And I've tried. I want to.
But you just can't.
And he's not bad. I shouldn't have used that word bad because fuck, I'm bad compared to any of these people. But there's so much like Aziz. I can't watch Aziz. I just don't think he's funny.
But what about him in Parks and Recreation though? I mean, that's
when he's acting, I think he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Parks and Recreation. I loved it.
I don't like his stand up. Like at all. Would I go on tour with him? Yes. So
Aziz, if you're listening, buddy, hook Brian up.
Like Charlie Murphy. I love him on Chappelle's show. His stand up,
not so much.
I just can't even like stomach it.
And listening, I want to get into really quickly too. You were talking before about doing a podcast.
Yeah, man. I want to start doing a podcast.
Is it really going to happen, or are you just talking about it?
I want it to happen. It's just a matter of, like I said, comics are lazy. So it's just a matter of sitting down and doing it.
But don't you think it could help promote yourself a little bit?
Absolutely.
I mean, boom, you're on iTunes.
That's one of that's one of the problems in this town. We need to promote. And like I said, I'm a perpetuator.
I'm surprised that more comedians here don't do podcasts. I mean,
I am too,
it blows
but I think
my mind.
It's just the comedy podcast world is so oversaturated that
you think?
Yeah, totally. There's a lot of not good podcasts out there. You know what I mean? Like everyone and their dog is doing a podcast. Yours is fucking genius because it's in a small town, like I said, that is about local stuff, and everyone here is way interested in that type of thing. And that's your audience is Salt Lake.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Actually, quite a few outside of Salt Lake.
Yeah,
I think
I don't
the people
doubt
that
it.
moved away that are still like, oh, what's going on in Salt Lake City? You know,
but like, it's like some dude in Alabama. You know what I mean? Isn't gonna probably doesn't wake up every day. He's like, man, I want to see what's going on in dang old Salt Lake, or something like that. You know what I mean?
True.
The comedy one is oversaturated. Kind of what I want to do different is I want mine to just chronicle my journey to failure.
I know. I like it. I think you should. I mean, do you have like a name or anything picked out? Or
I wanted to call it the Comedy Road with Brian Pope. I was originally going to call it Popecast.
The Popecast.
But that just sounds too religious.
Do you listen to mini podcasts now at all? Tons of podcasts. I mean, what are some favorites? I'm always looking for recommendations myself.
WTF, which everyone listens to, right?
What's that podcast you just talked about? What is that crazy WTF?
WTF. A lot of the comedy ones I stopped listening to, like Doug Benson's one, because it was like the Leonard Maltin game only becomes so much fun. Like, you know what I mean? I just kind of got over it. Bill Burr's every once in a while I listen to because he's just funny, dude. Just listening to him by himself and he'll like be yelling at the hockey game in the background, like it's hilarious. I stopped listening to Adam Carolla.
You stopped listening to him?
Yeah.
Why? Just out of curiosity, why? And I'm sorry, Adam. He wants to express.
No, I fucking love Adam Carolla, dude. But I don't know.
Too much.
It just gets old. Like certain things just get old. You know what I mean? And I every once in a while I'll listen to it if there's a really good guest.
Yeah.
But
well, that's how I am.
It seemed like the guest.
Yeah. Who's on? You know.
But WTF, I'll listen to every time.
Even if it's somebody on that you don't care
someone
about.
I never heard of, I'll listen to it.
Well, he's got a great skill. I mean, I think he's great.
He
at
is.
interviews.
He's fucking brilliant. Like, I love Mark Maron. I listened to Fat Man on Batman. Have you heard that one?
Is that the Smodcast?
Yeah, it's Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
He interviews people that have something to do with Batman, like authors or actors and things like that. I listened to Hollywood Babylon, one of his other. I listened to a lot of the Smodcast ones because they're interesting.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin's podcast is awesome. Here's the thing.
Yeah, here's the thing. Yeah.
The Rosie O'Donnell one the other day, fucking brilliant. The Christopher Columbus one, or Chris Columbus, was awesome. But other than that, I don't really listen to a whole lot.
Well, it's hard to keep up. I mean, you were mentioning you listen to a comedy album all the time. I mean, comedy albums all the time,
dude.
podcasts all the time.
I'll listen to Richard Pryor. I'll sit in the sauna and just be like, all right, I'm going to throw on Pryor and I'm going to listen halfway through. Then I know it's time to get out or something like that. You know what I mean? I use it to time things now too. Road trips, always play Dave Chappelle's Killing Them Softly every time. Every time I go to Wendover, which is a lot.
So what do you, Salt Lake City, I mean, obviously you're leaving, but overall, what did you love about living in the city? What do you love about,
man,
or what do you like about it, just in general?
I really do love this city a lot, man. I love the weather, believe it or not, even though it's crazy. I love it. Like, I love snow. I love having a winter. I love having a summer. I love having a spring and a fall. We get all four of those. And all four of them are intense, but we get them all. Like, it's fucking awesome. I love it. I couldn't imagine living anywhere without snow. I don't ever want to live like in somewhere where there's not snow.
See, I dream of, as much as I hate California, I dream of it every day. The weather is great.
I like having that, just like a nostalgia thing. Like, I like Christmas lights up and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, and seeing snow like in the Christmas. I love the local like music scene's pretty good. I love the women. Fucking God, dude.
Beautiful.
Mormon hips, man. Fucking, I'm gonna miss that shit. Big fat asses. God damn it. I'm all in.
Is that going to be the biggest thing you're going to miss? Is those hips?
Those hips, man. I'm gonna miss that shit. I'm gonna miss my friends, my family that are here. You know. I just really dig Salt Lake. There's a lot of things I don't really think I'm meant to be here the rest of my life. I was at some point meant to go back east and be in New York. I feel like that's where I feel. It's one of those things that it's pulling you. You know what I mean? I'm just getting pulled there more and more every day, and soon I'm going to be there. It's just my kind of town, that city. It's where I want to be. It's where my style would mesh well. It's where I can work as hard as I can. I can go out and do. Here, I always like to explain it like we have a ridiculous amount of stage time when we're on stage, but we don't have very many stages, which is a problem. In New York, you don't have very much stage time, but you can do that same set at 5 different places a night until it's perfected.
And a new crowd every time, man.
A new crowd every time, or just in front of other comics, and maybe they'll give you feedback. I don't know how it is. We'll find out.
What's your backup plan, man, if this comedy thing fails for you?
When it fails.
I wasn't expecting an answer there, man.
No, I don't have one, man.
Yeah.
I don't. And
I think
people are probably gonna...
I think if you create a backup plan, then you're destined to fail. You can't create a backup plan, man.
Well,
you got to go in and just balls out, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going. People are like, are you scared? I'm like, no, why would I be scared of what I'm supposed to be doing? Yeah. Like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. It's impossible to live in this town. And unless you're on the road.
And then you don't even live here. So why live
Yeah.
here?
And then you don't really even live here. It's impossible to make a living or get noticed. And I know that sounds crazy and stupid.
I think you get noticed though in Salt Lake. I think people in general, you stick out. You don't drown.
No, in Salt Lake. I'm talking about getting noticed by someone important.
Yeah.
Not that the people here aren't important, but you know what I mean. Someone somewhere. This business requires a lot of luck. You're not going to get that luck here. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the opportunities to go out and do what you can do in those big markets where the studios are, where the agents are, where everyone is.
Do you see that ever changing in Salt Lake though?
No.
Really? I wish it would. I mean, come on. I love this city.
Of course.
Though,
I'm not, that's nothing bad about this city.
Yeah.
It's just not big enough.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Nothing wrong with the city. I fucking love it here, and I'm going to own a house here someday. I promise you that.
So you will be back?
I'm going to own a house. I want to own a house in Park City, actually. I would love to own a house there. And I'm going to.
And you talked about hating the snow. Park City's got too much snow.
I didn't say I hate the snow. I said I love the snow.
No, that's right. You said you love
You said you hate
I
the
said
snow.
the snow. Yeah, that's right. You love the snow.
I would love to live there. I don't, when it comes to the entertainment industry, you cannot make it here. It is impossible unless you're like a local weatherman or something like that. Comedy, it's just not going to happen unless you're on the road constantly, or know someone who knows someone and can go to, you still are going to have to relocate for a number of months. It's just not possible, man. It's really not. And to think otherwise is insanity. It is naive. I don't think I've ever met someone that thinks that. But it's possible to get lots of comedians to come here to perform every once in a while, for sure, or constantly. We could get entertainers in and out all the time. Look what they do with the Twilight series concerts. You know what I mean? That's fucking brilliant. Anyone will come here to perform. When it comes to living, and it's just not possible, man.
No, I got you. Another thing I want to ask you, I ask everybody that comes on the show, like favorite local spots they eat at. Do you have any favorite restaurants you're going to miss?
My favorite restaurant in Salt Lake is Mekong Cafe.
I'm not familiar with that place.
It is in Midvale.
Okay.
It is on State Street in 7800 South. It's this little Thai joint, and it is so fucking good. Like, everyone should go to Mekong. It's the best Thai food in the whole entire state. And they're the coolest people there. Like, the owners, they're fucking two of the nicest, like, Thai people I've ever met in my life. Like, they're just people in general.
And where'd you say they're really located? Cool. About
7800 South and State Street.
Okay.
Like, it's so good, man. I'm going to miss that shit. I'm going to miss fucking the smell of that disgusting lake every day. God damn it, I love that fart smell. No, I'm going to miss that. I'm trying to think of what else, man. What else have I'm going to miss Lucky 13. That place is all. Everyone loves Lucky 13,
burgers,
dude.
Man.
Places like that. I'm going to miss Grizzlies games.
You a big hockey fan?
Big hockey fan. I'm going to miss, hearing people bitch about the Jazz all the time. I'm going to miss seeing Karl Malone's name everywhere. I'm going to miss everything, man. I really am. But my favorite local restaurant for sure is Mekong. I'm trying to think of what other local place. Salt Lake Roasting Company, one of the best coffee joints there is. Man, this whole fucking town. Five Monkeys, the Complex, Wise Guys, all that shit.
Just get out and support it, man. So how can people find you online? You got a web. That's another thing I like about you. You got a website, man.
Yeah, I got a website.
And I think a lot of local comics can learn from that. I don't know if all the local comics have a website.
Yeah, man. I have a website. It is bpopecomedy.com. And if you go there, actually, there's links to all my social networking. Twitter @bpopecomedy, Facebook.com/bpopecomedy, YouTube.com/popereaction.
What? I haven't looked at your YouTube. What's up there on your YouTube?
A bunch of stand-up clips.
Just from yourself?
Yeah, bunch of stand-up clips. And a clip of my old band, Los Reaction, from back in the day. My old punk band.
You were in an old punk band?
It's an old punk band.
Man, if I would have known that, we could have had another hour conversation. Gutter punk.
So no, it was like...
What did you play?
I'm a guitar player. Someone did I've been a musician for about 21 years now. Wow. We got a review from someone. I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it was Slug or one of those guys. And it said that if Minor Threat and Operation Ivy had a baby, we would be their baby.
I like that.
And that was like the biggest honor I've ever had in my life. I feel like your listeners are going to be like, who the fuck is this conceited asshole?
No, I think they're going to find this episode to be very informative, really.
If you guys can't tell, I'm very...
You're very what?
I don't know, neurotic when it comes to... I don't know what the right word would be.
Yeah.
I always worry about
why'd you stop playing music then, real quick? I mean, just before we wrap this up. So you're still playing music?
Yeah, man, I still play music. I just don't play with people anymore as much.
Just like solo stuff?
Yeah, I don't play out anymore. I'd love to at some point. I just don't. I don't have time right now. You know, I'm doing a lot of stand up and I'm moving and.
So you all packed? You're ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go, man. I've dedicated all my time the past few years to stand up, so it's more about that than the music. Music I love it. I have a weird sacred relationship with it that is like people always think I'm fucking crazy. Like I feel like there's certain things certain bands shouldn't do because it's like a disgrace to me. Like I'm such a snob when it comes to music that it makes it not even fun.
No, I can respect that.
I have a Beethoven tattoo.
Oh, is that what you got on your arm? I was kind of trying to peek at it without looking like a creep, you know? What is that? A beautiful tattoo.
Before we go, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, say what I mean, anything else you want to touch on?
Because I never got to finish. Yeah. I feel like I never finished about the Salt Lake scene with comedy thing.
Oh, yeah. Let's, whatever you want to.
I know
this is your time, Brian.
I said some things, I don't know, it probably sounded harsh. I don't want that to turn anyone off from ever going to see a show ever. Because I think that the local scene is really kind of blown up over the past couple years. Yeah, there's a lot of politics that don't exist. There's like sometimes jealousy and weird shit like that. And just, you know, I've seen some people treat others like shit just because they're new and stuff like that. At the end of the day, my advice to comics is support each other. You never know where someone's going to be someday. Just support them. I used to do this thing too where I'd be like, when I first started, you know what I mean? I'd be like, I'm better than that guy. Why is he getting that fucking job? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And you just have to realize, no, you can't fucking act like that. That's stupid. There's a lot of luck. Just support each other. You know what I mean? Anyone that supported me, like, yeah, now if I live in New York and they decide to relocate, they have an inn and somewhere to stay. Do you know what I'm saying? So people should always support each other. The local scene is, yeah, there's politics, but it's still fun and it's still great. Just don't fucking get involved in anyone's war. I keep telling that to new guys. Don't get involved. Do as much stage time as you can, and go wherever. And if anyone tells you, like, why are you going there? Why are you going there? Just ignore it. You know, don't let anyone fucking push you around, dude. Like, I'm never going to let anyone, you know, well, I'm sure I'll have to sell my soul a little bit, but I don't know. Do I just sound stupid?
No, you sounded great. I mean, everything. I've really enjoyed our conversation today. I wish, man. You know, I've learned a lot about you. I've learned a lot about your comedy. I wish you were sticking around in Salt Lake.
I'll be back once a year, man. I promise.
And check you out a little bit more. I wish I would have came out to more of your shows. You know, been a little bit more of a loyal fan myself, I guess you would say. So.
It's all right, man. I appreciate you having me for sure. And if you're ever in New York and you need somewhere to stay,
no,
my couch is yours.
I appreciate that. Well, we'll have to talk to your roommates.
It'll be called I Am New York.
I Am New York with Brian Pope.
I am kind of New York, but really Salt Lake. That's what you'll call it.
Anything else you want to add before we close out? I appreciate your time. I know you're busy packing up and selling off all your stuff. And
I did. I sold every fucking thing. It sucks because Grand Theft Auto just came out. I'm like, God damn it! I should have fucking kept it. I just want to say, you know, thank you, Salt Lake and Utah. This has been fantastic. I may not have lived my entire life here, but this is home. I'll be back. Maybe not to live, but I'm definitely gonna come back. And for those of you who have no idea who the fuck I am, which is most of you, go check it out, I guess. And if you like it, keep in touch. I don't know what to say. There's so many good local comedians. Everyone needs to go out and see them. I don't have enough time to start naming them all, but
yeah, I wasn't going to put you on the spot. You know, I ask that sometimes, you know, who are some of your favorites? You know,
I'll tell you who's some of my favorite. Natasha Maurer, Jay Whitaker, Christian Piper, Lamar Kellywood, Manuel Rodriguez, Jason Harvey. Dude. Taylor, Hunsaker. I had to give her a shout out because she gave me one. There's so many good. There's some new guys. Nicholas Smith is one of the new guys coming up. He's really funny. Jordan Mazziotti is a newer guy. He's really funny. Steve McAnally, Melissa Merlot, who just won the Artie Award for Best Comedian in Utah. Levi Rounds. How can you talk about Utah comedy without talking about Levi Rounds? Christopher Stevenson, Toy Soup, Quick Wits. All these fucking guys are hilarious, dude. I love them. I'm going to miss the shit out of them because I'm a fan of each and every one of these people. I love watching them every single week. That is what I'm going to miss the most, is watching these comics perform every single week that I've grown with and learned to love and become friends with. And listening to their new material and talking about it afterward, bombing and fucking talking about killing ourselves and shit. I'm going to miss the morbid talks and every single one of those. Shows at Five Monkeys last Thursday of every month. The once a month show at Club DJs in Kearns. There is a show there. It's always packed and it's always fucking fun and fantastic. Comedy with a Complex. Comedy on Tuesday nights. Every show Wise Guys does. Look at how many options you people have.
Get out and support it.
Get your asses out there. There's so much good shit going on. Like, you have no idea. It's insane, dude. I don't know. See how excited I'm getting? It's just like it's awesome, dude. There's so much comedy that, like, my dick is fucking hard right now.
I love it. Thanks a lot for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
All right. Many thanks goes out to Brian Pope for coming on this episode of the podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our conversation. I'd love to know your feedback by calling the voicemail line. It's always open, 385-202-5926. Give me a call. Let me know what you thought of this episode or any of the other previous episodes of the podcast. Really quickly, a couple of recent donations I want to give a big thank you to. Recent donations from Tara and Carl. Many thanks for your recent donations and your support of the podcast. Your donations will help keep the podcast going. If you want to find out how you can support the show, just head on over to iamsaltlake.com/support. There's a few ways you can support the show, even by simply leaving us a 5-star review in iTunes. That is much appreciated. Anyways, that's going to do it for episode 111 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. I'll be back again on Monday with a brand new episode showcasing something in Salt Lake City. Thanks a lot for listening, guys. Really means a lot. You guys have a great day, a great afternoon, or a great evening.